One of the most common questions I get from agency owners is this: Connor, how do I increase my prices without losing all of my clients? And after 13 years of running our agency and working with nearly 100 agency owners since, I can tell you that most of the time you're leaving money, not just money, serious money on the table. Not because your work isn't good enough, because I can tell you that the creativity that I see from agency owners and agencies is fantastic, but it's because you're scared to test what the market will actually pay for your service. What I want to do today is to explain some of the pricing strategies that we used in our business to increase our prices. And I want to start firstly with the price ceiling method. Most agencies have no idea where their price ceiling actually sits. Your price ceiling is the threshold where clients start saying no. And if you don't know where this is already, you're probably charging too little. When we started our agency, we were creating logos for £150. By the time we exited, our brand projects were at about 20 grand each. That didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by accident. We tracked absolutely everything. Every proposal, every win, every loss. And what we found in this research, in this understanding, was that we were winning far too many projects. Our win rate was 80, 90, and sometimes 100% in any given month. And here's the thing that we realized: if you're closing more than 70% of your proposals, your prices are too low. Full stop. So stop watching this video right this second and write down your current win rate. And if you don't know what that is, then you need to go and learn what it is, and you need to start tracking this immediately. Like, think about this, right? If you're sending out proposals every single day and every client is saying yes, you're not targeting them, or you're not testing the market's willingness to pay more money. You're playing it safe and you're leaving revenue on the table. You're leaving profit in somebody else's bank account. The next approach that we would have used quite a bit is an incremental approach to increasing prices. And I find this is very common with my own clients. With every major project we won, we would increase the quote to the next comparable project by 500 or £1,000. And we would just keep doing this until people said no. Now, there's not an ounce of any scientific methodology that went into this approach, but it worked. And I had one client who they were charging about 3 grand for websites about a year ago now. And today they charge 10k regularly for the comparable work, exactly the same output as they would have a year ago. And they are winning just as much of the business as they did back then. Now, what has changed is that they incrementally increased their prices over this last year. And we decided early on that if they needed to walk their prices back down after a few no's, they were willing to do so. But it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because their confidence in selling at this price point grew. And as we described the commercial value of their service a whole lot more confidently, it allowed the customer to get that confidence in us and then to buy. This gradual approach meant that that client was, constantly testing what the market's willingness to pay, and it was doing so without these massive dramatic jumps that might shock potential clients. And each successful project at every new higher price point became proof that we and they could command that rate. Their confidence grew because of it. Actually, now, let me tell you what really happened when we started doing this. The key was that as we increased our prices, our confidence as business and our confidence as salespeople grew as well. We weren't just asking for more money. We learned that we had to demonstrate why we were worth it, and we had to display the commercial value that we brought. Another strategy then that a client has used with significant success as they increase their prices is price anchoring. Now, what this means is that they don't just spring this new number on a client, but rather they use this method to make the increase sound reasonable, right? So let's say you want to move your websites from 5k to 8k projects. Don't quote 8k, quote 10k with payment terms that bring it down to your target revenue level. So this project today, Mr. Customer, is 10 grand, and we will take 5 grand today, and we'll take 5 grand on 30 days when we complete this milestone. Or if you prefer to handle everything today, it will be 8 grand. Now, That works really well because the client sees discount. And I did a similar process with a prospective client who was known for negotiating any price quite aggressively. We knew that before we walked into the meeting. And when I presented my price, I added an extra £1,000 on what we would normally charge. The conversation, the arm wrestle, the negotiation happened, and they worked that down to a price that we would have charged anyway. Suddenly that client felt like they were getting a discount, and we got our target price either way. So try this tomorrow. Add £500 to your next proposal and see what happens. Then what I want you to do is to comment below and let me know how you get on. Lastly then, I want to explain the value transformation method, because this will transform your business and how you sell. There's a crucial point that most pricing advice misses. If you keep getting no's when you increase your prices, the problem, if you want to call it that, isn't your pricing strategy. The problem is your value proposition. You can't just wake up tomorrow morning and decide that you're going to charge more without becoming worth more and your services being value driven and driving more value in that client's business. Now, when we went from £150 logos to 20k brand projects, our business, our process changed. Our discovery became more strategic. We started talking commercial objectives, not just design preferences. We, as an agency, positioned ourselves as business transformation, not decoration. And we ultimately had to demonstrate how our work would meet their commercial objectives, how it would increase their revenue, how it would drive recruitment, how it would help them move into new markets, any number of business opportunities. And we ultimately had to stop selling time. We had to start selling outcomes. But growth isn't just about charging more. It's about becoming more valuable to your customers. When we were charging £150 for logos, we were order takers. We were creating stickers essentially. When we were charging 20k for branding projects, we were strategic partners. The difference in our service wasn't just price. It was the entire approach to client relationships, to business, and ultimately to the results that we delivered. So, what I want you to do is ask yourself this. What does this mean for my agency? What am I going to change? What needs to change? How does our service need to differ? And what stops most agencies is fear. Fear that you can't charge what you're worth. Fear that clients will say no. Fear that the work will dry up. And fear that you're not good enough to command those higher prices. But every single underpriced project is stealing from you or your family's future. And I know that sounds very harsh and a wee bit dramatic, but it's true. Do you provide a great service? Answer me this, right? Do you provide a great service? Should you be charging more? Would you feel more valued if you got a higher price for your work? And can you demonstrate the benefit of the designs that you create? If you answered yes to any of these, then you should be charging more. Now, here's something interesting, right? The clients who push back the hardest on price are usually the worst clients to work with anyway. The ones who value your expertise, pay what you're worth without question. The bottom line of all of this is that your agency's pricing strategy should reflect the value you deliver, not the hours that you spend on a project. And if you still think in terms of hourly rates and time-based pricing, you are limiting your growth potential. So first things first, you got to start tracking your win rate. Find your price ceiling, test what the market's willingness to pay for your services actually is, not what you think. And most importantly, focus on becoming the kind of agency that clients will pay premium prices to work with. Because I fully believe that your prices are the signal to the market about the quality of your work and the level of service that you provide. Make sure you're sending the right signal. And if you need help scaling your agency, get in touch with me and we'll schedule a discovery call to see if there's an opportunity to work together for the benefit of us both. Thank you as always for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.